These shells were located back in Crane, Indiana. Most of them were actually made or manufactured in 1990, so they date from the very end of the Battleship program in the United States. They've been in storage since then. The Navy is interested in scrapping things out. Certainly inert shells, as these are, the non-explosive type, are very easy to scrap. So there's a shelf life, if you will, for these items. We're only going to see them here for a little while longer before everything is gone in the entire arsenal. And it took almost a year and a half or at least a year plus, year and a quarter, before the Navy actually was able to complete the paperwork. And suddenly it came in and they said, you got to get the shells out now. In the interim, we actually organized 4 different railroads plus several different trucking companies just to be able to get them here pro bono. And that involved CSX, who provided the boxcar, the Indiana Railroad, which actually handled the short line work up to the BNSF, of course the BNSF all the way out to the Pacific Harbor lines, and then there's transportation companies on either end. There's a company there locally that unloads boxcars or other train cars of that nature, and they actually donated the trucking. They unloaded the shells out of the boxcar. And tossed them on some flatbeds, and the flatbeds come over here a couple of miles. And then we're offloading them with our Gradall on the dock. And we're going to store them here in either the north and or south yards for some time. These were stored inside at Crane, Indiana. Now outside they'll get a little bit of sunburn. And that's really it. There's no other issues. They're heavy, so we don't want to drop them on anybody. You know, each one of those pallets is roughly 4,000 pounds. Ultimately, we'd like to have them down inside whichever turret we choose for display, which would almost assuredly be turret number 1, and it would go into the shell flat. Post-war, post-World War II, at some point, NATO, when it was formed, actually arrived at a common color code for all of the shells that would be shared among the NATO organizations. And blue is for an inert round, inert meaning there's no explosive inside. These are actually BLNPs, which means blind load and plugged. So there's a blind load, probably concrete or some other substance inside that's inert, will not explode. And that's just placed inside to provide the right amount of weight inside the shell to displace where there would be explosives. And then they put a plug in the bottom and you're done. And these are actually meant to shoot as a practice round, non-explosive practice round for the ships. There's no explosive inside the shell. There's absolutely no chance that anything will ever happen with those shells. That's it, period. They're blind load plug, inert shells.